Hull City 2, Manchester United 0. What a shock. To begin the Premier League season, Saturday fixtures, 7-1 Hull City were. But the promotion winners from last season's championship getting the better of a team that will play in the Champions League and thoroughly deserving to do so. Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Donaldson. Alongside Stevie Nicol, plenty to talk about today. What happened with Manchester United? But it's only right, Stevie, we start with Hull City. What impressed you most about their performance today?
Well, I think the organisation, which is always going to be key for them to stay in the league. You know, they're going to have to win games at home because away from homes, they're going to struggle to get goals. You know, they were at home today and they were sitting so deep. But fortunately for them, the organisation, the determination and desire from a defensive point of view, and also the lack of quality from Manchester United meant that they pretty much kept United at bay for most of this game. A couple of opportunities for Mbeumo was all they had, United. And of course, as a promoted side at home, first day of the season, when you go ahead early or early-ish, or even get yourself ahead, then my goodness, that just doubles down and makes it doubly difficult for the opposition. So Manchester United never looked like scoring a goal. Salakis did make two good saves from Mbeumo, one at 0-0. That really did make a difference, not going behind for Hull. And then, of course, Mbeumo got through at 2-0 down with about 15 minutes to go. That again, Salakis made a good save. That could have put a bit of pressure on Hull City for the last, 10 minutes or so. But it didn't happen. So, yeah, it's a deserved victory. And a victory. I think particularly at home, you will see Hull City playing this way against anybody, never mind Manchester United.
They didn't have a failure. They were well organised. They were hungry.
Yep.
Their discipline was exceptional. Their tactics were spot on. The five at the back when defending and then hitting on the counter. I want to take you back to this week when you did ESPN FC Extra Time with Kay Murray. And one of the questions was in response to Michael Carrick's comments when he was asked, well, surely it'll be an easy start to the season. You've got the two promoted sides in game week 1 and game week 2. And he said, that's ridiculous. You said you don't want to start the season at a team that's just come up. Think of an FA Cup final and multiply it by 10. So you agree with Michael Carrick. He knew how difficult it was going to be. Why did we get such an insipid and lack of not so much enthusiasm, but lack of ideas from Manchester United today when Carrick knows, you know, and everybody else knows how difficult a game that was going to be as far as intensity was concerned?
Listen, the key when you're playing against a team that are going to get men behind the ball is you have to move the ball quickly. You know, if you're too slow with it, if you're not decisive enough with your decision making and your passing, then it just gives them time to get back in numbers, get back in position, and then it makes it twice as hard to try and break them down. And the two new signings, Tielemans and Santos, I thought were pretty poor in terms of moving the ball around quickly. They got plenty of touches on it, but they didn't do anything with it, particularly Tielemans. You know, you and I could have sat in the middle of the park with the amount of time and space and ball they had and done exactly what Tielemans in particular did. So, yeah, disappointing from Carrick's point of view. Those two guys in particular are there, yes, to stop the opposition, but they're also to get the ball and get it moving quickly to Bruno Fernandes or Mbeumo or Cunha, you know, the players who are going to hurt the opposition. And they just didn't do it. They took far too long to get the ball forward. And by that stage, well, we saw the deep block from Hull City and United couldn't penetrate it.
No, they couldn't. And you get the feeling they could have played another hour and it would have been exactly the same. There's just a lack of creativity. Try and get it wide, try and put it in. A lot of the crosses were flat. I think we have to strike a balance here because it's easy to kind of stick the boot into United for this performance. And they deserve it. But you also have to give a lot of credit to Hull. And they took the lead in the 17th minute. And Look, it was the first 10 minutes that kind of went up, it went down. There wasn't really anything created. Shaw had a deep cross, and
Well, I guess
Bomo's
the
shot,
key,
you mentioned.
the key for me for the start is the Mbomo chance that Salakis made the save on,
Yes.
and it wasn't created by Manchester United. It was a ball that was thrown in the box that got deflected in the air. The fullback made a complete mess of it and somehow let it go over his head, and Mbomo just capitalised on it. So this wasn't creativity from Manchester United, but it was a great strike, an acrobatic strike. But it was a really good save from Salakis, and if that goes in and Hull go one down, it completely changes the game. So I think it's important to mention Salakis from that point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I meant to when we were talking about Santos and Tielemans for United, we should mention Crooks and Slater for Hull. I mean, you talk about the two guys who stuck out in the middle of the park, obviously from a defensive point of view. But my goodness, absolutely nothing got past them. And part of the reason why United had to slow down going forward was because of the positioning and the decision making and the challenges and the just raw strength, particularly Crooks. I mean, he's a big boy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think those three, in my opinion, were pivotal to the victory. Salakis, as I said, making that important save from Mbono at 0-0. And those two midfielders absolutely worked their socks off. And they're going to be tired by the end of the season, those two, because they do a shift big time.
Well, you could go through the entire Hull lineup. You've mentioned
a
few already. All in McBurney, the hard work starts and the defending starts from the front. Stevie Clark can answer why he wasn't in the Scotland squad for the World Cup when Lyndon Dykes was, but that's another argument. Giles was another, Ryan Giles, the left back. And it was him that helped set up the opening goal. It actually starts a couple of minutes beforehand. We got a little bit of a sighting when Ollie McBurney's header was well saved from Giles's cross. But then it's one of those, you'll know it as a fullback, you'll say you mean it, and it's heading towards goal when it's actually a cross. It has to be tipped over by Lomans. And from the resultant corner, Hull City take the lead. McBurney at the back post gets a decent bit to it. It's a brilliant save from Lomans. But United, it was like a microcosm of the whole game. They were on their heels, just waiting rather than being proactive. But someone who wasn't waiting was Semi Ajayi with the follow-up. But 50 goals United conceded last season. This is another from a set piece. Yeah. It's unacceptable. Where does the fault lie for this one from a United perspective?
I think the fault lies squarely on the defence as a whole. At the end of the day, your back four are there to defend. That's the first job. As a player, the first thing you have to do is do your job first, and then if you can help others, then that's what you do. But as you said, it was a kind of microcosm of the game because every Hull player in a challenge generally was first to it. Second ball, we talk about second balls. And second balls from set pieces, from a defensive point of view, you have to win. And if you don't, then what happened today is going to keep repeating itself. And both goals from those set pieces, Manchester United defenders were second every single time. You got Luke Shaw playing them on for the second goal.
Mazraoui.
The second goal. Yep. And of course, the flick on it in near post, Man United plays second. McBurney with a strike, Man United defensively a second. Lammers makes a great save, comes off the post. Who gets there first? Ajayi, Hull City player, Man United a second. So yeah, from set pieces defensively, you can't always win the first ball, but you must win the second. And if you don't, the chances are the ball's going to end up in the back of your net. And on two occasions, this is a real eye-opener for Carrick. He's going to have to figure something out, whether it's making changes or whether it's making new signings. But for sure, if you look at that back line from a defensive point of view, it doesn't inspire me. Certainly doesn't, I wouldn't think, inspires any Manchester United fan after watching that today.
No, I gave you the stats about league goals conceded. 50 last season, 54 the season before, 58 the season before that. You've got Mazraoui, Maguire, Heaven, and Shaw. There's been a lot of money invested middle to front for United, whether it's been the holding midfielders all the way through to the attacker. But it's like they've forgotten to upgrade the defence. They've brought a new goalkeeper in, but defensively, there's not much difference. Harry Maguire's still there, Mazraoui's still there, Shaw's still there. Heaven's playing because obviously Martinez is not available right now because of Argentina at the World Cup. And the second goal was more of the same. It's another set play. It's a brilliant free kick from Regan Slater. And a guy who was playing last season in La Liga, former Betis player, played at Rayo Vallecano. He's a man mountain and he's brave, but you have to be. And it's all about the delivery from Slater and Nobel Mendy with the header. But again, when you get the still, Stevie, of when this goal's scored and when the actual header takes place from Mendy, it's just bedragglement from the United defenders. They're all over the place.
Well, nobody's taking charge. You know, they're pretty deep as well. You know, so many back lines you see today, they look too high. But you can't say that about this United back line. You know, that set piece in particular, I thought were way too deep. And yes, you can point the finger at particularly Maguire. He's in charge of that back line. But the goalkeeper shouldn't be letting them come on top of them either. But then after that, you have to be brave and you have to be decisive and you have to go and win the ball. And I think, as you said, when you see the still, Luke Shaw's not exactly putting his head where it hurts. So yeah, all round, from every which way you want to look at it, whether it's organisation or individually, it's an absolute shocker from United. But it's exactly what you'll get from Hull for the rest of the season. That I can guarantee you.
United played plenty times in pre-season. They played 6 times, but they only kept 1 clean sheet. It's like they didn't learn or they didn't work. That clean sheet was a 5-0 win at Rosenborg. So at halftime, he's regrouped. He's brought on Rashford for his first Premier League appearance for United since December 2024. He's taken off Patrick Dorgu. The next note I've got is that Šeško and Mainu come on in the 67th minute. They had so much of the ball, and I want to take another look at that graphic for the percentage of how much of the ball Hull actually had compared to United. But how much of that 72% possession, Stevie, was actually decent and threatening possession? Because Hull in that second half, they just defended really well, very well organised, and the lack of creativity from United, especially when Šeško came on for a front four of Šeško, Rashford, Cunha and Mbeumo, was awful.
Well, when you're too slow, as I said at the start, for the 2 midfielders in particular, and I know they brought them off, Menu came on, but there are so many bodies as well. By the latter stages of this, certainly halfway through the second half, when all the changes started coming, you know, Rashford coming on as well, it's too late, and you have to start gambling by putting balls in the box. Now, if you want to beat Hull City, if you're just going to fling balls in the box, that's probably not going to be the way you beat them with the aerial power and the desire and the strength they have. And so they got themselves in that position, United, where they were just up against a brick wall. And of course, they have to gamble and they have to start putting balls in the box, which means there's even more bodies in the box, which means there's leaving less space to actually try and produce something of real quality, and it just becomes predictable, which it did. So yeah, the whole lead up towards the latter stages of this game are caused by the ineffective midfield play from Man United, from either getting themselves forward or being able to create chances. And so when you get desperate, you're 2-0 down. There's 18 bodies in and around the penalty box. It changes from trying to be creative to you're looking for a bit of luck because you're just putting balls in.
Ipswich Town next at home, 8 days from now, next Sunday. What do United need to work on in training this week to ensure that there will not be a repeat of what we saw today?
Well, we're talking about a completely different game next week. It's Ipswich are going to try and play. Ipswich are not going to do what Hull City did. Now, yes, you expect Man United to push Ipswich back, but being at home, the ball's going to move a lot quicker. There's certainly the energy is going to be a little different, and certainly has to be different. So I'm expecting a completely different game here. I'm expecting Manchester United. I'm going to, even right now, I'm sitting here. I think Manchester United are going to win this game comfortably because it's at Old Trafford, because of what happened today, because of how slow the build-up was. So to answer your question, there's no question that during the week it's going to be about moving the ball around quicker, making quick decisions and getting the ball to the people that matter the most in the attacking areas, which obviously is Bruno Fernandes and probably Mbomo. I would suggest you probably have to start Rashford. You know, I think you can say that he looked as though he had energy when he came on. He was running at defenders. He was trying to run in behind. You know, so from that point of view, I think he should and probably may start Rashford at home. So yeah, I think we'll see a different United side. But yeah, if they move the ball quickly, which I think they will at home because that crowd, no question, will demand it, and we'll get behind them.
You know what football's like, Stevie. You've been involved long enough in the game. It's easy to kind of go over the top and be hyperbolic after one result. We're not pressing the panic button yet, but did that give us more questions than provide answers today from Manchester United?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head earlier on. You know, defensively, they do look as though they're vulnerable, and unless they get some players back or unless they make some signings, that doesn't look as though it's going to change. But I certainly expect them to get better going forward. It is one game. It's not an ideal place to start away at Hull. It was always going to be tough. I as you said, 100% agreed with Michael Carrick. This was never going to be easy peasy as everybody thought. But yeah, defensively, yeah, they look vulnerable.
That's Hull City's first victory even over Manchester United in the top flight. And the last time they did so in the league was in November 1974 by 2-0. Wood and Wagstaff. Today, 2-0. And for Wood and Wagstaff, Reid Ajayi and Mendy. What a start to the new season. Up via the Championship playoffs, Hull City beating the Champions League participants, Manchester United, by 2-0, despite only having 28% of possession. But they thoroughly deserved all 3 points. My thanks to Stevie and to you for watching. We'll see you again later for Brentford against Tottenham Hotspur reaction. Bye for now.